7 guidelines for dealing with involuntary loneliness. Involuntary loneliness is harmful, but loneliness in itself is neither good nor bad. It depends on how you get through it and accept it. And we are all, and sometimes we want to be alone. We need it and it is good for us. However, there are times when loneliness is from grief or renunciation. Being alone for a long time can be very hard because we are social creatures. Therefore, today we will give you 7 guidelines to deal with it in an intelligent way and use it to grow as a person. Read on involuntary loneliness. There are several forms of negative loneliness. A person may feel helpless, alone and with little prospect of the situation changing. To them, loneliness feels like condemnation, an undesirable situation, punishment that is clearly unfair. Involuntary loneliness is one of the most negative experiences for a person's health, both physically and mentally. The concept of loneliness is different from isolation. Addiction is even more diverse. We could say that loneliness has 3 different faces, and each has its advantages and disadvantages. What are the common forms of loneliness? First, it can mean being away from crowds, the hustle and bustle of life. This kind of solitude is necessary for us to nourish ourselves, pray, write or concentrate. We need this kind of solitude. If we handle it intelligently, it can bring us great benefits. But many times we don't choose solitude, it is imposed on us. If it is imposed, we can feel so lonely that even surrounded by people we feel completely alone. Tragic psychological loneliness. Psychological loneliness is perhaps the most terrible kind of loneliness. It can turn into pathology and even end in suicide. Loneliness can also come from feeling like you don't have any deep relationships. Maybe you have no real friends or family you trust. People can also be predisposed to loneliness. There are studies that show it becomes more common as we approach the age of 40. It culminates when the children leave home and the pension begins. When children leave the house, the empty nest syndrome can occur. That doesn't have to be a bad thing though. We can take advantage of it. There is another form of involuntary loneliness that usually happens in old age when we lose independence and find it difficult to get around. But if we know how to accept it and make it work, it can enrich us. 7 guidelines for dealing with loneliness. Organize your life differently. Organize your life according to your current status: single, widowed, retired, without children, etc. Get rid of the stressful routines you used to have as a home worker or as an employee if that's not you anymore. It's time to update your routine. Create schedules. Stick to regular times for going to bed and getting up. Now try to prevent your life from going into anarchy. A schedule can give you a great sense of security. On days when you don't have to get up early, don't stay in bed. You'll only feel sadder if your body doesn't have a schedule. Always eat at the same time. If possible, always eat at the same time. Eat dinner every night, even if it's small. Don't fall into the trap of only eating when you're hungry or eating out of control. You will notice it in your physical health and state of mind. Disorder generates more disorder, and that can turn into anxiety. Now try to set the pace yourself. Don't let yourself get carried away by your momentary mood. I'm bored. I don't feel like taking a shower and getting dressed. I just have to lie on the sofa all day and wait for a call or a visit that never comes. Look at your to-do list and get something out of your day. Do rewarding activities. Do you have a garden? Go out and dig in the ground. If you have a yard, take care of it. There is always something to do. If not, get some indoor plants and take care of them. You can also clean the house, tidy up, do the dishes, Doing something that distracts you, keeps you active is good and healthy. Don't just pass the time. We have to find something to fill our time with. But we need to do something that means something to us, that we enjoy and that makes us grow. Don't complain that you don't have enough money. The rich are bored too. It's about finding something that attracts you, captures you. Change gears. Make a change. Change your habits, add a little risk to your life, go to the movies, even if you don't have anyone with you. Go out to dinner one night, travel. The relationship we have with loneliness depends on ourselves. Living alone does not mean being alone or being lonely. If you are in a situation of involuntary loneliness, we hope these guidelines can help you, if only a little.